Spoiler alert there. But there was great food. There's great food down the hall, great coffee. So thank you very much to AES for that, for thinking about us and making sure that we have good coffee all day. I appreciate that. On that note, probably all of us in this room have been thinking about and excited about XR Enterprise for some time. I think it's been very encouraging the last several months, several weeks, some of the big announcements from companies like Microsoft and Lenovo, Meta and others with the kind of doubling down on the enterprise focus. But AES has been focused on enterprise for a long time. AES was enterprise before enterprise was cool, and we very much appreciate that. We appreciate them hosting events like this. My name is Brad Scoggin, and I will be your guide for the day. Officially, it's chair. My team told me when I got this, when they said I was going to do this, they said, hey, you're going to be the MC. And so I got excited. I started working on jokes, and then I got here and talked to Mike, and Mike said, sorry, Brad, you're the chair. The chair, you know, it's a little more official and serious. So there will be very few jokes, very few bad jokes. So maybe that's a good thing. But I'm the CEO of Arbor XR. I'm also one of 3 co-founders. And at Arbor, we are device management for XR. So think of us as your legacy MDM that was built specifically for XR, device management, content management, user management. And that puts us in a very, I think we have a unique perspective on the market. We get to work with all the major hardware companies. We've got almost 1,500 customers in over 60 countries. And we work with a lot of the Fortune 500, a big chunk of the Global 2000. And we've been doing this for a while. I've been in this for 6 years in XR. And a joke that I like to make that doesn't feel like a joke anymore is just what do we call them, XR years. 6 years in XR feels like 20 years. I think it just starts to feel more painful. If you think back 6 years ago, it feels like a lifetime ago in XR. And other things, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, VR, it was more VR, right, than XR at that point. It was still so volatile. And I think it's exciting to see how far things have come. I think to make a big, broad generalization, kind of in a statement of what this week is about, it's about, and what we're all talking about, what the great talks today will be about is how do we scale XR? And I think that should be really, really encouraging to all of us that that's the question we're asking. It wasn't that long ago that we were all asking, is XR going to work? And I think that's encouraging. There's feedback. Can you hear the feedback? Is that weird? Okay. I was like, I'm watching myself talk. It's like I'm on Zoom. Thank you. Can you put that back up? It feels comfortable. So just a couple quick observations before I introduce our first speaker of the day, kind of from our unique perspective and working with a lot of companies and being able to work kind of cross-platform, cross-industry. The last 6 months from our kind of front lines perspective have been nuts in a good way. There's been more companies sign up, more big companies, the companies you want and you want to be thinking about getting into XR, but also more companies going from pilot to scale. Another observation, maybe a little bit more of a hot take, what we've seen with some of our Global 2000 customers is that the transition from pilot to scale, in that transition, that the legacy MDM they've been using just doesn't work. And the functionality necessary for XR is a lot different than it is for typical devices. So I'll leave that one there. The last thing I'll say, which I think is very encouraging, is that one of the big pain points that it feels a lot of the companies we work with who are going to scale are now focusing on is managing the learner journey. And again, like the question of how do we go to scale, I think that's a great question. A great challenge. For a long time, the challenge was the hardware and the content, and those aren't really challenges anymore. There's a lot of great solutions on both fronts. But when we think about how does XR have its biggest impact in enterprise and the work that you all are doing, I think what we're ultimately thinking about is how do we train people more effectively and more efficiently? And so having the ability to do NVR SSO, to track the events and then pass that to an LMS is really, really key as you're thinking about going to scale. So with that, I do have the privilege of introducing our first speaker of the day, someone who is an absolute expert when it comes from going to pilot to scale, all things Metaverse. He is the GM of XR and Metaverse at Lenovo, Vishal Shah.
Thank you, Brad. Appreciate it. Thanks. Morning, folks. How are you? I just want to, hey, Brad, thanks a lot for the introduction and the tee up. Really appreciate it. Once again, I'm Vishal Shah. I'm the general manager of the Enterprise Metaverse and AR/VR business at Lenovo. A warm welcome to you guys to San Diego. This is my hometown as well, just like the keynote speaker from yesterday. So welcome. Hope you have a great time. It's America's finest city for a reason. So I hope you have some time to enjoy. And just like Brian made a recommendation yesterday, the Padres have finally made the finals of the World, of the baseball league. So if you get a chance, go by the ball stadium, have some dinner and drinks there. It's going to be a wild time. San Diego teams usually disappoint, so the fact that we are this far out in the series is absolutely magical for the town. And again, like a big shout out, if I can get a round of applause for AES, a very, very high quality show. I think. Yeah, at Lenovo, we live and breathe the enterprise, and I think this is one of the highest quality shows I've seen in a while. So it's really good to be back in person, and it's good to know that I'm not double muted on my microphone somewhere on a Zoom call. So with that, we'll talk about our ThinkReality platform and how we're scaling into the metaverse. Just a quick overview of what Lenovo does as a corporation. $70 billion in revenue last year, the largest PC maker in the world. Highly integrated supply chain. We own massive brands like the ThinkPad laptops and workstations that most of you are aware of. We also own the iconic Motorola brand, one of the first cell phones in the world. And then we have a massive, one of the largest data center businesses in the world that we acquired from IBM and have now taken it to a edge and data center business as well. So, it's a huge company that's going through a service-led transformation, and our CEO's big bet is on the metaverse and AR/VR. So, we're really excited to be here and present our perspective. So, I'm going to tee this off with a brief view of how Lenovo looks at the metaverse and what the different building blocks are. I'm going to kick it off with a video here. Pretty cool. I'm not going to make the cardinal sin here of trying to define the metaverse in front of these experts here, in front of this esteemed group. But what does excite us about the metaverse and why I think it is inevitable is it is the evolution of the internet from 2D to 3D. And it is going to be the building block of Web 3.0. Right? So if you look at how the internet has evolved over the last 50 years, if you look at Web 1.0, it was all about the Wi-Fi and PC becoming the big enablers, right? You finally had a search bar, it was about Google searches, and it was all about eyeballs. Where we are today, and I think arguably we're transitioning out of that phase, is Web 2.0, which was powered by the mobile revolution and 4G, right? That was the first time where we could actually be mobile around the devices. And it became all about social media, the app stores, and going from eyeballs to likes. Where we are now, and I think some of us have started this journey about 10 years ago, is converting the 2D internet finally into a 3D interface, right? So, which we are calling Web 3.0. And why do I think it's the right time? Why will this happen in the next 5 years? And why we have the right building blocks? I think there are three key factors that are enabling that. One is around low latency, high speed 5G networks. Finally, we're getting global coverage around that. So when we talk about 3D content, that's going to be key to serving up that content. The second is going to be around XR devices finally hitting scale, finally hitting a form factor that's more palatable, where you can wear these devices for a couple of hours, or even as briefly as a meeting, but they're becoming smaller and smaller and and better form factors. And the third is what I call AI. I mean, there's of course artificial intelligence, but also augmented intelligence, right? How do we always talk about a remote support worker, or 5 experts getting together to help a remote worker. But what we are seeing in the industry we're moving towards is how do we learn from some of these workers in terms of what their weak points are? How do we serve up content using AI? How do we serve the right videos at the right time to make them more efficient, and also even remove some of the experts that are required in the back at odd hours, or who are also prone to mistakes? So these are the 3 key enablers that we feel will really drive Web 3.0. Of course, there's this whole things around the economy and blockchain base, which is very exciting as well. But in terms of some of the core network technologies, that's what we're pretty excited about. And of course, the metaverse will enable a diverse set of use cases, largely around training, around collaboration, digital twins, and that's something that we talked about at length yesterday, and we will talk about today as well. And then, of course, there's this whole consumer gaming and social stuff, which gets a lot of the attention, a lot of the buzz. But what I'm really encouraged about in this space is some of the recent headlines, right? How do you keep the metaverse hype under check? So just 2 headlines that kind of hit my inbox over the last week. One was from ABI Research, one of the esteemed research companies here, I believe. Eric from that team is going to be on a panel after me. They talk about how enterprise and not consumer will be the lead revenue provider over the next 5 years. Calling almost $60 billion just in hardware, and then an additional 5x amount in services and solutions beyond that, right? So we're definitely seeing that, while there's a lot of buzz in consumer, the enterprise is where a lot of the investments are being made, and the ROI is being seen. Now, the second big research report was from McKinsey, talking about how digital twins are the foundation of the enterprise metaverse. And this is why I think, even though the metaverse is a new buzzword, a lot of us have been doing this and going from 2D to 3D twins, whether it's on the social side, whether it's on the factory floor side, or whether it's even like how we interact in meetings going forward. The digital twins are being created of ourselves as well as the environment around us. And then, the metaverse building blocks. This is how, we view the different building blocks of the metaverse, and kind of consistent with what the industry looks at as well. If you look at the 3D content is going to be king in the metaverse, right? In this 3D internet, it's all about how do you create this content and how do you efficiently serve up this content. So in terms of the content creation blocks, and again, a disclaimer, if you don't see a logo on this, please don't mind. This is just a bunch of random logos, so please don't take it personally. And then, obviously, one of the biggest layers that is being worked on right now is the creation layer, how the content will be built. The CEO of Intel Pat Gelsinger said that the metaverse will require 10,000 times more compute power than the entire mobile revolution did, because you're going to have, we already talked about players like Unity, Epic, Autodesk, Adobe, that are using now to create some of these digital twins and digital experiences, right? So, I mean, the gamers are getting the last laugh, right? The person who used to be mocked that he's staying in his mom's basement and playing games, we're now using those same engines to create the next revolution of the technology. So I think that's pretty awesome. The second is the visual layer, what the users will experience. And this is where you have your social media elements. This is where you're going to have things like mesh, and your team meetings now becoming more 3D collaborative tools. You've got players like NVIDIA Omniverse, creating some of these different environments. So this is where what we experience actually comes out. And this is where, again, high compute devices, power efficient devices are going to be a big part of what we have. And the other two are the cloud layer and the delivery layer, right? The architecture is becoming increasingly distributed to serve this thing. It's going to move increasingly to the edge, and it's going to be served through some sort of a 5G low latency network. So this is where you already have your traditional cloud players, but a lot of the investment and the disruption is happening at the edge of the device. This creates actually opportunities for new players as well. And then, of course, there's a delivery layer that's going to be powered by 5G with players like Ericsson, the awesome networks that T-Mobile have, and traditional players like Qualcomm, who are leading the way in the 5G space. And then, of course, the final layer is the devices, right? How the users will interact with this data. You can serve up the best data, but if it's still a 2D monitor, it's not going to be as compelling. It's not, the ROI is just not there. And then, we definitely stand on the shoulders of some consumer giants here like Meta. There's some major players like Microsoft HoloLens, Vario, and then, we kind of compete in this space or collaborate in this space when it comes to the actual AR, VR devices. So this is sort of an attempt to put together the whole ecosystem there. And you might notice that T-Mobile has the biggest logo here, so thank you for the happy hour. If you buy booze, you get the biggest logo on my slide, so thank you. Long story short, no matter what form the metaverse worlds will take in the future, there will be multiple metaverses, whether it's digital humans, whether it's workplaces, whether it's online shopping, whether it's what we are in, like the industrial use cases. We believe that the XR devices are the ultimate ticket, the ultimate on-ramp to the metaverse. Not the only one. There will still always be 2D. There will always be spatial devices around you. But in terms of portability, ease of use, there's a lot of talk yesterday about ease of use, right, around these devices. We feel that the XR devices are the ones that will get you there. 3D worlds, avatars and holograms, immersive experiences, all served up on these devices. So coming to the fundamental point, right, what will it take to scale XR in the enterprise? I think we had some amazing speakers yesterday. I think Zohair from Flex, I don't know if he's still in the audience, but that was a masterclass in product psychology, right? I think he should teach a class at just about every engineering and product school. So I think that was phenomenal in terms of some of the challenges Flex is seeing and how we have these blind spots as we try to roll out these new digital transformation technologies. And this is not the first time it's happened. We saw the same speed bumps in the cloud revolution. We've seen the same speed bumps in IoT, where anything that sits at the intersection of IT and OT and workers, it's a very complex transition. But when it comes to the XR solutions, and this is, I'd love to have a discussion with you afterwards, we see 4 key fundamental things that need to happen, and we're trying to make happen at Lenovo to help our companies, our customers, our partners scale in the metaverse, right? So one is end-to-end solutions. The second, I think a lot of people talked about this, is to be enterprise first. Have an enterprise first and sometimes an enterprise only mindset, a very, very focused mindset on the enterprise. Second, you can be enterprise first, you can build a product for the enterprise, but can you be enterprise grade? Do you have the trust of the enterprise, IT, OT, the supply chain, to make sure that they trust what you create for the enterprise? So that's the third point, is how do you create enterprise-grade devices, software solutions, and trust. And then fourth is our complete belief that an open and flexible system is what we need to make things happen, right? Whether it's locking you into a particular cloud ecosystem or a particular vendor ecosystem, we believe working on some of these open standards are going to be absolute key for success in the metaverse as we scale. So let me just walk you through all these 4 points, just in terms of what we are trying to do to alleviate some of these pain points. So in terms of end-to-end solutions, right? So what we have done at ThinkReality is we, from the ground up, bottom up, created an end-to-end solution. We have a complete software platform that plugs into companies like Arbor XR that let you help do your MDMs, plug into large players like Intune, have a complete cloud-based ecosystem that's cloud agnostic. I sometimes hear that, we are an Azure house or we are an AWS house, but Johnson & Johnson is a conglomeration of 60 different companies. They all have, half of them have different cloud systems. So what works in one factory or in a particular region will not work in a different region or different factory in the same company, right? So those are the kind of things that you have to be, in my view, cloud agnostic to make those things happen. The second one that we strongly believe in is the ISV ecosystem. We don't want to compete with the ISV ecosystem. People in healthcare, people in automotive, we work with the best ISVs to build an open platform that serves our customers, that they are proud of and that we can serve to them as fast as possible. So to us, an open ISV ecosystem is very important for scale. The third is modern hardware, of course. The hardware is always going to be, this is going to be a hardware-led SaaS business. So modern hardware is always very important. And this is where we create our own hardware, but we also partner with different platforms where we feel we can't serve the needs of our customers. And I think third is, we talked about this yesterday as well, is around the service layer. Since this is a complex sale at the intersection of IT and OT, providing services, whether it's through a system integrator, whether it's around content generation, whether it's converting from 2D to 3D, AR kind of use cases, having the right service layer is very important. So this is something that we do with companies like Accenture. We work with Wipro, some of the largest SIs in the world, to really help you manage your transition into scale. So I'll just give you an example of some of the partners here, right? If you look at the overall ecosystem here, we've got an example of where we've got our Lenovo hardware, our ThinkReality software platform, and then our ISV ecosystem. Like we have some certified solutions like HoloOne, Uptail that are presenting on the floor here. We've got CareAR from Xerox, and then you're going to see this number actually, grow 10x because of Qualcomm Spaces. We're seeing a lot of ISVs who are now adopting Qualcomm Spaces, and we're in the process of making them certified solutions as well. So, pretty exciting there. And then, of course, this slide might be a little hard for you guys to read at the back. I'm sorry about that. But the key is that you see a RealWear device there in terms of some of the solutions we create. We want to be a Swiss Army knife of solutions. If you need an intrinsically safe device downstream at an oil and gas factory in Dubai, or in Saudi Arabia, we have the reach, the partnership with RealWear to serve you that device along with our software solutions, right? So we are in some ways trying to be hardware agnostic. I mean, there are some companies we won't partner with in terms of quality or standards where our philosophies are different, but we're trying to create this end-to-end solution by vertical, whether it's manufacturing, auto and transportation, AEC, healthcare, and education. And this is why the diversity of ISV partners is very important, because we can't be that one size fits all. These are folks who live and breathe in this space. The second one is being enterprise first, and in some cases enterprise only, like that focus. So what we have done at Lenovo is ThinkReality is only about the enterprise, right? So there are some ways where we can get into a B2B2C model, but it's all about the enterprise, and we're one of the few companies in the world, maybe the only one right now, that has both an enterprise-grade AR device, augmented reality device, as well as a just announced virtual reality device as well, right? So kind of, again, in the spirit of providing a complete, comprehensive solutions for our customers. I hope you guys get a chance to play with the A3 glasses, where we've partnered with Qualcomm as well for Spaces. It's a great toolkit for AR. It has multiple hosts. You can make it work with a Motorola 5G device. So it's a complete portable device. You can plug it into your laptops as well for a 5 to 10 screen kind of control room, taking Zoom meetings, Teams meetings, on the go. So you have like now 5 monitors in your eyes sitting in a coffee shop or in the plane. And that becomes extremely important with the hybrid workforce and people working from anywhere. So very excited about that as well. And the third, of course, is around wearables. I strongly believe, and we strongly believe, that smartphones are not going anywhere, but the form factor of smartphones and how data is served to these devices is going to change, thanks to split rendering, cloud XR. So we're partnering with companies like Verizon, for example. This is an example of something we did with them, to create neck bands, to wristbands, which you can wear to a stadium. It's full 5G connectivity, and then it talks to your glasses in order to give you like rich content about a particular game or a play. And then on the right-hand side, of course, is the new VRX device that we launched. I'm going to do a video on that as well. And then you see that edge server on the right-hand side, right? This is like a ruggedized edge server. Works in negative 70 degrees weather to plus 50. Strongly, again, believing that it's the end-to-end ecosystem that matters, from cloud to edge to the pocket. So with that, I'll introduce our new ThinkReality VRX headset. We have it on display at our booth as well. So I just hope you enjoy this video and some of the messaging around it.
Ready or not, the metaverse is coming. A digital layer on our physical world.
But what does that even mean? You've got real work to get done and people to connect. We get it. That's why for us, the metaverse is not a game, which is why we created the Lenovo ThinkReality VRX, your gateway to the Enterprise Metaverse. So you can train your team, letting them get hands-on, literally, gaining real experience for lasting results. Bring your hybrid workforces together to keep them collaborating and creativity flowing. Engineer that next big thing, or learn in safe, repeatable, and exciting new ways. Whatever your business, the ThinkReality VRX was built with you in mind. Privacy, security, support, yeah, those are our top priorities too. But you need to think ahead, which means advanced optics and color mixed reality pass-through, so the real world can meet the virtual one. And versatility, giving you control over how your experiences get powered and how they're developed. All backed by Lenovo, a true enterprise partner ready to support your needs and scale your solution into the metaverse. The Lenovo ThinkReality VRX. You don't play games with your business. Neither do we.
So you don't play games with your business, and neither do we. I think that's our motto, and that's a subtle jab at some people that you may have heard of. And then, the third point, very, very important, right? Like I said, you can be enterprise first. I mean, you can create an enterprise device, but do you have the trust? Are you really an enterprise-grade device? And again, this slide might be a little hard for the folks at the back, but what we do at Lenovo, like whether it's our ISV providers, whether it's our software solutions, whether it's our hardware, we through a very stringent supplier program. When we put the Lenovo brand on a certified solution or a software solution, the enterprise folks know that this is something that I can take on a space station, right? We're all about hardware safety, privacy design reviews, which is very important in the, especially in the enterprise space. Some of these devices that are coming out, they're claiming to be, oh, you know what, I'm going to do enterprise only. They're a disaster in terms of privacy, security, and how your data is captured there, right? So those are some of the things that we strongly believe in with our global security lab. That makes a huge difference to be enterprise grade and build enterprise trust. The other big thing we provide, which as we build scale is becoming very important, is we're now seeing some of our ISVs and value-added resellers wanting to sell 20,000 devices, 50,000 devices to a particular bank or a retail company when it comes to VR. And they all wanted to move from a CapEx to OpEx model. So one of the big things that Lenovo does is provide device as a service. So that way your customers are not locked into that fixed cost up front. And if they want to change the device in 2 years or 3 years down the road, they have the flexibility to do that, at least for part of their portfolio. So, these are some of the key things that we are able to provide around that, right? Especially given our size, we ship 150 million plus devices a year, so around 35 factories around the world. So this is something that we try and strive for to be enterprise grade and enterprise trusted. And then last, and I'm probably thinking this is probably something that we're really committed to, is an open and flexible ecosystem and a developer community. So this is where our partnership with Snapdragon Spaces has really helped the industry a lot. I think of this as a seminal moment where a lot of, with our combined commitment to OpenXR and some of the engines like Unity as well as Epic, we're able to really create a developer ecosystem. If you get a chance to go to Qualcomm booth, you'll see them using our A3 devices across the board, whether it's enterprise applications or gaming, right? So I think this is something that we're committed to being very OpenXR compliant and this whole open ecosystem. And what that gives us, so for example, that gives us, us a lot of flexibility as well. If you look at our new VR device that's going to launch early next year, we already have about 8 to 10 partners that have already signed on. It should take them a few weeks just to transfer over to our device, right, and scale. So this is how being part of this OpenXR and being true to that, not only saying it, but being part of your DNA can help you bring a larger ecosystem together. So, this is something that we're very aware of, and this is something our enterprise customers are asking for as well. So, just to kind of wrap things up, right? Definitely looking forward to talking to you afterwards and corroborating some of these thoughts, right? I'm saying this with a lot of humility. There's so much expertise in this room. These are some thoughts in terms of how we are planning on scaling the XR and what we think will work, but love to get your feedback and love to not only corroborate, but also collaborate, right? So across all 4 areas, whether you're an ISV provider, whether you're an enterprise, whether you're a solution provider, love to see how we can work on the ecosystem together to make it better. And then, again, this whole open and flexible area where we're working with a lot of the ISVs. I think it's an exciting time to be an ISV in the space because you are actually at the leading edge of this revolution. And then, last but not least, I'll repeat our tagline: "You don't play games with your business, and neither do we." Just give us a shout out at booth 303 if you get a chance, and love to talk to you further. over the next 2 days. Thank you.